Good morning, afternoon, evening. I want to begin today by telling you something that may shock you or perhaps inspire you. Your life can look completely different in just 6 months. Not 6 years, not 6 decades, just 6 months. Your life can transform in just 6 months with focused effort. This idea may seem overly optimistic or even impossible to some, especially if you've spent years feeling stuck, unfulfilled, or overwhelmed by your current circumstances. But the truth is, transformation doesn't require a lifetime. It requires intention. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can achieve in 6 months. 6 months of consistent, focused action can radically reshape your mindset, habits, and lifestyle in a way that most people never realize is even possible. The reason so many people stay in the same place year after year isn't because they lack intelligence, opportunity, or potential. It's because they lack consistent direction. They dabble, they start and stop. They move in circles, constantly switching paths whenever discomfort arises. But focused effort changes that. Focus is what channels your energy into real momentum. Focus is what helps you say no to distractions, to laziness, to the things that keep you small. When you stop scattering your attention and commit to one vision with discipline, you begin to build traction. You begin to feel progress, and progress is the most powerful motivator of all. 6 months might not seem like a long time, but it's long enough to start seeing dramatic changes. Think about it. If you work on your physical health every day, eating clean, exercising consistently, drinking water, sleeping right, you will not recognize your body in 6 months. If you work on your mindset daily, reading, journaling, meditating, surrounding yourself with growth focused content, you will begin to think, speak, and respond differently. If you work on a business idea, a creative pursuit, or a skill set for 6 months without giving up, you'll be miles ahead of the person who just thinks about it. The magic is not in the time, it's in the focus. Most people never give themselves fully to anything for even a few weeks, let alone 6 months. They quit when it gets boring. They stop when results aren't instant. But if you can delay gratification, if you can stay locked in on a single mission for 180 days, you'll shock yourself with what you're capable of achieving. The first 2 weeks will be hard. You'll face resistance. You'll question yourself. You'll be tempted to fall back into old patterns. But if you push through that initial resistance and keep showing up, you'll build momentum. That's what transformation is. Not one big leap, but a series of small, intentional steps taken every single day. If you work just 1 hour a day toward your goal, that's 180 hours in 6 months. That's the equivalent of more than 20 full-time workdays focused on nothing but your dream. Imagine what that level of effort would look like when applied consistently to your health, your mindset, your relationships, or your finances. You wouldn't just improve, you'd evolve. People often say, I don't have time. But what they really mean is, I'm not making it a priority. The truth is, we all have time. We just don't always use it wisely. The average person spends hours a day scrolling social media, watching TV, or procrastinating. If even a fraction of that time was redirected with intention and focus, the results would be undeniable. The reason 6 months can change everything is because when you bring deliberate focus to your actions, you cut through the noise. You stop wasting effort on things that don't matter. Oh, you become efficient, aware, and purpose driven. What separates the successful from the stuck isn't luck, it's focus. Focused people don't need perfect conditions, they don't need endless motivation. They just decide that this goal, this vision, this version of themselves is non negotiable. They commit to showing up, rain or shine, and they trust the process. That kind of energy compounds. How day by day you begin to notice changes, not just in your outer world, but in how you think and carry yourself. You'll feel more confident, more in control, more alive. Another reason why focused effort over 6 months is so powerful is because it naturally leads to identity change. The more consistent you are, the more you start seeing yourself differently. You're no longer the person who talks about doing things. You're the person who does them. That shift in self-image is critical. Once your identity shifts, everything else follows. You begin to expect more from yourself. You start seeking growth instead of avoiding discomfort. And as you raise your standards, your results rise with them. Of course, it's not going to be easy. Transformation never is. You'll have days when motivation is low, when doubt creeps in, when it feels like progress is invisible. But that's when focus saves you. When your why is strong enough, when your vision is clear, you keep moving even when it's tough. You stop relying on how you feel and start relying on the discipline you built. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. 6 months may not take you to the final destination, but it will get you out of the place you're in now. It will give you momentum. It will give you proof. And most importantly, it will show you that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. You don't need to have it all figured out today. You just need to make the decision, to commit, to focus, and to show up every single day. That mindset is the foundation of all lasting success. Everything you achieve or fail to achieve begins in the mind. Your beliefs, thoughts, self talk, and inner narrative shape. People often chase new strategies, tools, or shortcuts, thinking those are the keys to success, but the real shift happens internally. If your mind is working against you, no amount of external effort can create sustainable change. If your mindset is rooted in fear, doubt, or scarcity, it will sabotage your progress every time you try to move forward. A person with a growth mindset sees obstacles as opportunities. They understand that failure is not the end, but feedback. They believe they can learn, adapt, and improve. On the other hand, someone with a fixed mindset believes they're either good or bad at something, and that nothing can change that. This core belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe you're not capable, you'll avoid challenges, you'll settle, you'll shrink. But if you truly believe you have the ability to grow, you'll push yourself into uncomfortable situations because you know that's where growth happens. Most people live their entire lives trapped in mental cages built from old programming, messages they absorbed as children, past experiences that wounded them, or societal narratives that told them what was or wasn't possible. They never question these beliefs. They operate from autopilot. They don't realize that their internal script is outdated, and until they rewrite it, they'll keep repeating the same cycles. The mind is like software. If it's corrupted or outdated, no matter how powerful the hardware is, it won't function properly. Mindset is that software. And the beautiful part is it can be rewritten. Changing your mindset starts with awareness. You must become conscious of the thoughts running through your head daily. The silent doubts, the inner critic, the way you speak to yourself when no one's listening. If you constantly think things like, I'm not good enough, I always fail, or this never works for me, your mind will start seeking evidence to prove those thoughts right. The brain is wired to reinforce what we believe. So, if you change the belief, the brain starts reinforcing a new truth. You have to train your mind like a muscle. Just like physical fitness requires consistent workouts, mental fitness requires repetition, practice, and persistence. It's not enough to say affirmations once or read a motivational quote here and there. You must immerse yourself in new, empowering thoughts until they become your default setting. That means reading books that stretch your thinking, listening to people who inspire and challenge you, journaling your thoughts, and reflecting daily on your internal state. The more intentional you are with your mental diet, the more powerful your mindset becomes. Another key element of mindset is self-image. You will never outperform the identity you hold of yourself. If you see yourself as lazy, you will act lazy. If you see yourself as someone who's inconsistent or always messing things up, you'll subconsciously live up to that identity. That's why people who try to change their behavior without changing their identity often fail. They go to the gym but still see themselves as out of shape. They try to build a business but still believe they're not smart enough. The behavior never sticks because it doesn't match the belief. To truly change your life, you must change the way you see yourself. Self-talk is another silent but powerful force that shapes mindset. Most people speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to a friend. Harsh, judgmental, defeated. But every word you say to yourself is a suggestion your subconscious is listening to. When you say, I can't handle this, your mind believes it. When you say, this is too hard, your body reacts with resistance. But when you shift your language, even slightly, to things like this is challenging, but I can figure it out, or I've done hard things before, I can do this too, everything starts to change. Torch you instead of sabotage you. Mindset also determines how you handle failure. People with a fixed mindset see failure as evidence that they're not good enough. They take it personally. They give up. But people with a growth mindset see failure as a stepping stone. They ask, what can I learn from this? They extract lessons and move forward stronger. They know that every setback is simply a setup for a comeback. The only way to fail permanently is to quit, and people with the right mindset don't quit. They pivot, adjust, and keep climbing. One of the most empowering beliefs you can adopt is that you are not your past. Whatever mistakes, regrets, or painful experiences you've had do not define you. They shape you, yes, but they do not limit your future. Too many people let their past determine their mindset. They say, I've never succeeded before, so why try? Nothing ever works out for me. But your past is a lesson, not a sentence. You can choose to see it as proof of failure or fuel for transformation. The choice is always yours. Mindset also includes your perspective on time and growth. Many people are stuck because they expect instant results. They start something, don't see progress in a week, and assume it's not working. But success is not an event, it's a process. A person with the right mindset understands that growth takes time. They're patient with the process, even when results are invisible. They know that consistency compounds, and that persistence always pays off. This long term perspective helps them stay focused when others get distracted or discouraged. Finally, mindset is about responsibility, taking ownership of your life, your choices, and your growth. When you blame circumstances, other people, or external factors, you give away your power. But when you take responsibility, you reclaim control. You say, I may not have caused this, but I can change it. That level of mental ownership is what creates lasting success. Because it means you're not waiting for someone to save you. You're building your own way forward no matter what. The quality of your mindset determines the quality of your life. Not because it changes reality instantly, but because it changes how you respond to reality. And your response is everything. Two people can face the exact same challenge. One sees defeat, the other sees opportunity. One gives up, the other grows stronger. The difference is not the situation, it's the mindset. And that difference makes all the difference. Clarity turns vague dreams into achievable goals. Without clarity, even the most passionate desires remain stuck in the realm of fantasy. People often say they want success, happiness, or freedom, but when asked to define what that looks like, they struggle to provide a clear answer. That's because they're operating with blurry vision. And blurry vision leads to scattered actions, wasted energy, and eventually frustration. When you aren't clear on where you're going, every distraction feels like an opportunity, and every obstacle feels like a sign to quit. Clarity is the mental compass that guides your thoughts, decisions, and behavior. It gives direction to your ambition. It sharpens your focus. It helps you filter out what doesn't matter and zone in on what truly does. When you get specific about what you want, your brain starts looking for ways to achieve it. This is not some mystical concept. It's the way the human brain works. When you set a clear intention, your subconscious starts aligning your actions with that vision. This is known as the reticular activating system at work. It tunes your focus toward things that matter, like a radar scanning for opportunities. A person with a vague goal like I want to be rich often finds themselves overwhelmed. How much is rich? What does that lifestyle look like? Look like what kind of work would generate that income? Without those answers, there's no direction. But when someone says, I want to earn $100,000 a year through an online business by December, they instantly shift from wishing to planning. Now there's a target, there's a time frame, there's a time frame, there's a purpose. And with that level of clarity, the brain begins to form a strategy. Clarity also creates motivation. When your goals are specific and meaningful, they become emotionally charged. You're not just working hard for some vague idea. You're chasing something that feels real. That emotional connection is what fuels discipline. It helps you push through difficult days because you can see the picture in your mind. You're not just exercising, you're visualizing the healthy, energetic version of yourself. You're not just working late, you're building a business that gives you freedom. That emotional clarity gives your efforts weight and significance. To gain clarity, you must ask better questions. What do I truly want? Why do I want it? What would my ideal life look like in 6 months? 1 year, 5 years. Who do I need to become to live that life? What are the top 3 outcomes I want to accomplish this year? When you take time to reflect on these questions and write down your answers, you start building a mental blueprint for your future. Without this blueprint, it's like trying to build a house with no plan, no measurements, and no vision. You may start working, but nothing aligns, and soon you feel lost. Clarity also simplifies decision making. Every day, you're faced with dozens of choices. When your vision is unclear, you get stuck in indecision. But when you know exactly what you want, it becomes easier to say yes to what moves you forward and no to what distracts you. Your time becomes more valuable. Your energy becomes more protected. You stop chasing everything and start pursuing only what matters. And this kind of focused action leads to faster, more meaningful progress. Another powerful aspect of clarity is that it eliminates confusion and self doubt. A lot of people aren't actually lazy, they're just unclear. They don't know what to do next, they're overwhelmed by options. But when you define your goal clearly and break it down into simple, actionable steps, the fog lifts. You stop overthinking and start doing. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates belief. Every step you take with clarity reinforces your sense of direction. And that's how confidence is built, not in perfection, but in consistent, clear movement. Clarity isn't just about setting goals, it's about aligning your goals with your values. If you chase something that doesn't resonate with who you are, you'll burn out quickly. You have to know not just what you want, but why you want it. What does success mean to you personally? Not what society says, not what your friends expect. What do you truly want your life to feel like, look like, and mean? That kind of clarity connects you to your purpose. And purpose is what sustains you when motivation fades. Clarity also helps with communication. Whether you're leading a team, working with a mentor, or building relationships, people respond to clarity. They trust it, they respect it. When you speak with a clear sense of purpose and direction, others are more likely to support you, follow you, or collaborate with you. Unclear people seem indecisive, scattered, and inconsistent. But clarity breeds confidence, and confidence is contagious. To get more clarity, you have to make time for stillness. In today's noisy, distracted world, most people are constantly reacting, scrolling, clicking, jumping from one thing to the next. But clarity comes in moments of stillness, reflection, and intentional thought. Take time every week, even every day, to unplug and get quiet. Journal your thoughts. Visualize your future. Reflect on your progress. These small moments of clarity compound into major breakthroughs over time. Clarity also makes your journey more enjoyable. When you know what you're working toward, and you can track your progress, the process becomes more fulfilling. You're not just grinding endlessly, you're moving with purpose. You can celebrate milestones. You can see how far you've come. This sense of progress fuels your internal drive and helps you stay committed, even when results aren't immediate. One of the biggest blocks to clarity is fear of choosing the wrong goal, fear of failing, fear of committing. But the only real mistake is staying stuck. Clarity doesn't mean you won't make adjustments along the way. It simply means you've chosen a starting point. From there, you can refine, pivot, and grow. But you can't steer a parked car. You have to start moving. Clarity is not about having all the answers. It's about having a direction and trusting yourself to figure out the details as you go. When you take the time to define what you want with precision, everything around you starts to shift, your priorities change, your habits improve, your circle evolves, and your actions become intentional. Instead of wandering aimlessly, you walk with purpose. Instead of wishing, you're working. And instead of hoping things will change someday, you're actively creating the change you want to see. Not shape your identity. Consistency beats intensity. Yeah. Many people think transformation requires massive dramatic changes overnight, but the truth is, real growth happens through small, repeated actions done consistently over time. It's not the grand gestures that define success, it's the little things you do every single day, even when you don't feel like it. Your habits are the silent architects of your future. They're the invisible systems that run your life on autopilot. Every time you repeat a behavior, you reinforce a belief about who you are. And over time, that belief becomes your identity. If you want to change your life, start by changing what you do daily. Your results are simply the outcome of your habits. If you have habits that support your health, you'll become a healthier person. If you have habits that support your creativity, you'll become a more creative individual. But if your habits are rooted in procrastination, distraction, and negativity, your life will reflect those patterns too. Willpower is limited, but environment design can do the heavy lifting for you. Tracking your habits can also boost your consistency. There's a psychological reward in checking off a task. It creates a sense of accomplishment and encourages you to keep the streak going. You don't need a complex system. A simple notebook, calendar, or app will do. What matters is that you're keeping yourself accountable. When you see your progress visually, it becomes easier to stay committed. And when you miss a day, don't spiral. One missed day won't ruin your progress, but two in a row can start a new unwanted habit. The key is to bounce back quickly. It's also important to associate your habits with your values. When a habit reflects something meaningful to you, it becomes easier to sustain. Don't just go to the gym because you want to look better. Go because you value health, energy, and longevity. Don't just save money because you want more cash. Save because you value freedom, security, and responsibility. When your habits align with your deeper values, they feel purposeful. They're not chores. They're expressions of the person you want to become. Another important aspect is patience. Building habits takes time. Research suggests it takes an average of 66 days to form a new habit, but that number can vary based on the complexity of the habit and the individual. The key is not to rush the process. Don't expect perfection. Expect progress. There will be days when you fall short, but that doesn't mean you failed. What matters is that you get back on track. Each time you recommit, you strengthen your identity. You remind yourself that you are the kind of person who doesn't quit. Habits also act as anchors during stressful times. When life gets chaotic, your habits create a sense of stability. If you built the habit of journaling, it helps you process your thoughts during emotional storms. If you've built the habit of exercising, it helps release tension and boost your mood. Good habits aren't just for when life is easy. They're most valuable when things get hard. They give you something to hold on to, something to ground you. They become your safety net. Ultimately, the goal isn't just to build habits, it's to become someone who naturally does the right things. You're not trying to force yourself to behave a certain way forever. You're trying to become the person for whom those behaviors are automatic. That's identity level change. When your habits match your vision of who you want to be, you no longer have to push yourself. You just live it. And that's when transformation becomes sustainable. That time is the most valuable resource you have. Yet it's the one most people waste without even realizing it. You can earn more money, build new skills, repair relationships, and even regain health to some extent, but time once spent is gone forever. That's why mastering your time is non negotiable if you want to change your life in 6 months. Every successful person understands the power of time. They don't just let it pass by, they use it like a tool, shaping their day, their habits, and ultimately their destiny with it. The difference between someone who grows fast and someone who stays stuck is often not talent or luck. It's how they manage their time. The first step to mastering your time is understanding where it currently goes. Most people underestimate how much time they waste. Social media scrolling, random browsing, overthinking, and unnecessary distractions eat up hours each day. That's why awareness is key. Track your day for a week. Write down what you do every hour. You'll probably be shocked by how much time slips through your fingers, but don't get discouraged. Get focused. Because once you know where your time goes, you can start reclaiming it. You can cut the fat and prioritize the actions that actually move you forward. Time management isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. It's about identifying your high value activities and putting them at the center of your schedule. These are the tasks that generate the biggest results in your personal growth, your business, your relationships, or your health. At the end of each day or week, take 10-15 minutes to review how you spent your time. What worked? What didn't? What wasted time? What created momentum? This process helps you refine your approach. You learn from your. If your goal is to lose weight, and you tie that goal to living longer for your children, your discipline grows. If your goal is financial freedom, and you tie that to helping your family and escaping a stressful job, discipline becomes. If your workspace is full of distractions, your phone is buzzing nonstop, and your fridge is filled with junk food, you're setting yourself up to fail. Discipline shouldn't depend solely on willpower. It should be reinforced by the way you spend your morning, the food you eat. Stress, how much time you dedicate to learning, the amount of effort you put into your goals. All of these are habits. And when you become intentional about building good habits, you take control of your trajectory. Instead of writing 1,000 words a day, start with 100. When the habit is small, it's hard to say no. And once you start, it's easier to keep going. These tiny habits compound over time, leading to massive. When you take control of your time, you take control of your destiny. Most people are not lacking time, they're lacking clarity. They don't truly know what matters most, so they end up saying yes to everything. They chase urgency instead of important. Pay attention to your personal rhythm and align your most demanding task with your most energized hours. Don't waste your peak hours on trivial work like email or admin tasks. Use them for creative thinking, problem solving, and the key to sustaining success lies in consistency. The ability to show up every day regardless of how you feel. This is the secret that most people overlook. Many chase success through sporadic bursts of effort. But true success, people with a scarcity mindset believe that there is not enough for everyone. They see opportunities as limited and success as something that only a few can attain. Those with an abundance mindset, however, believe that there is enough for everyone. Success is not a destination at all. It is the person you become along the way. Every person has untapped potential, but many fail to realize it because they let fear and doubt hold them back. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. These fears often paralyze us and keep us stuck in place. But fear is not something to avoid. It's something to confront.